Many people consider the scariest places on Earth to be those that are haunted by the spirits of the departed. But as is human nature, we often seek out the source of our fear, either for a thrill or to better understand and overcome it. Just like visiting scary places on the internet, it's up to us to decide whether we will venture further down the rabbit hole. Number 5. As far as hauntings go, Jazirat Alhamra is considered to be the scariest place in the United Arab Emirates. It's also known by its moniker Red Island due to the color of the sand that it is built on. Back when it was thriving, it was a pearl trading and fishing village and home to the Zabi tribe. In stark contrast to the white beaches and luxury hotels of the Emirates, Jazirat Alhamra is a ghost of its former self, standing in ruins after economic and political factors, coupled with massive growth in the UAE's oil industry, drew most of its citizens to Abu Dhabi, where more lucrative opportunities presented themselves. But the village has seen an incline in tourism in recent years, as rumors have spread that it's not as empty as it seems. Many people have encountered Jinn, a shape-shifting spirit that's able to morph itself to appear as a human or an animal while traveling between our dimension and its own. One local describes how they used to encounter these spirits when diving for oysters. He claims that they could hear the entities clapping underwater, and that they would often slap the divers, causing them to faint while still submerged. He says sailors who retrieved the unconscious divers would pray over them and ask the Jinn why they have done this, often getting an answer from the Jinn in a sweet, soft-like voice similar to that of a woman. Tourists have described feeling incredibly unsettled during their visits, and some have reported seeing handprints appear and disappear on the walls and pillars that remain standing. Some visitors report hearing strange, disembodied voices that carry over the water to the nearby beach. Most locals steer clear of the village even during daytime, however, believing that a sighting of one of these entities will cause them to gradually go insane. Number 4. The Forbidden City is located in Beijing, China. It's considered by tourists to be one of the country's must-see destinations, as it houses many of China's national treasures. What many don't know, however, is that countless people have lost their lives within the city's walls, and that historically, anyone who entered the city was never allowed to leave. Over its 600-year history, it has seen scandals, executions, murders, and assassinations abound, while it served as the imperial palace for both the Ming and Qing dynasties. Anyone who dared go against imperial rule was subjected to death, and so it's easy to understand why it's rumored to be one of China's most haunted and scariest places to visit. The most famous ghost alleged to haunt the city's halls is a woman dressed in white who's seen running from a soldier while she weeps. Some visitors report hearing the clashing of swords as they're caught in the midst of a ferocious ancient battle. Others claim that they saw pools of blood and piles of bodies appearing on the highly polished floors, and that strands of white silk seem to float down out of nowhere. People outside the city often describe hearing flute music playing during the night from within its empty walls. Number 3. Jefferson is considered to be one of the most beautiful, but also one of the scariest places to visit in the state of Texas. Founded 180 years ago in 1841, on land formerly owned by the Caddo Native American tribe, it was inhabited by over 30,000 residents in the 1860s, when the town was at its peak. Currently, only 2,500 people live there, and the town relies heavily on tourists that visit its various haunted sites. The Jefferson Hotel is one of these haunted buildings. Originally built as a cotton warehouse, it was transformed into a hotel and brothel after the town had passed its glory days. While Prohibition was still ongoing, The hotel used to host a secret speakeasy known as the Crystal Palace, but is now renowned for the many ghosts that lurk there. The most prominent is the Vanishing Man, who wanders through the hotel wearing a long black trench coat. Many guests have reported waking up in the night to find the man standing next to their beds, staring down at them. Others have followed him after mistaking him for another guest, only to find that he's vanished after turning a corner. The most haunted room in the hotel is number 19. Here, the spirit of a young girl named Judy, who met her demise in a stabbing, is seen in the bathroom's mirror. She often writes her name on the mirror, or leaves messages pleading for help. Another haunted attraction is the Excelsior House Hotel, the oldest in East Texas. It's said that the movie Poltergeist was inspired by the hotel after director Steven Spielberg woke up to find the spirit of a young boy in his room who asked him if he wanted breakfast. There have also been numerous reports of a man who carries his own head around in his hands on the second floor, and of a woman dressed in black carrying her baby. It's believed that she was a well-to-do street worker who was robbed of a diamond necklace that she used to wear around town, and murdered before her body was left in a nearby forest. At the time of her death, she was staying at the hotel, and her spirit is said to have never left. The Grove is an 1860s Victorian house, which is home to shadow people that walk around the house, only to disappear when the lights are turned on. Footsteps are often heard from empty rooms, and the inexplicable sound of doors opening and closing has been reported. Some guests have encountered the glowing white figure of a woman sitting on the house's porch or walking around the house. She's been seen passing through a sidewall, which used to be the entrance to the children's room, leading many to believe that she's the house's original owner, Minerva Fox Stilley. To this day, Jefferson is hailed as the most haunted town in Texas. Number 2. With a history dating back almost 2,000 years ago, when Bronze Age fishermen first settled in the area, Newport in Wales is understandably regularly cited as one of the most haunted and scariest places in the world. Though it's now fully modernized, many people are certain that some of its thousands of former inhabitants still roam the streets and buildings. Newport Castle is said to be haunted by the ghost of its founder, Robert Fitzhammond. His bearded figure has been seen standing on the very top of the castle's highest tower, casting a giant presence until he's spotted and vanishes into thin air. The servants have reported feeling uneasy while going about their chores, possibly because of sightings of the apparition of a lady in white who frequents one of the house's staircases. Many people claim that it's the spirit of Gwyneth Erica Morgan, who died after mysteriously disappearing during a trip to London. Her body was found floating in the Thames River 6 months later, and her cause of death is disputed. Caerleon campus at the University of South Wales is the site where students have seen the spirit of a woman called Bertha Ramsey. Big Bertha, as she is affectionately called, was a matron at the campus who fell from a banister on the second floor during Christmas break. Her ghost is said to be 6 feet tall, wearing brown overalls with her hair pulled into a bun. The Rising Sun pub is said to have excellent accommodation, but it's also said to house a few poltergeists. Barrels that are kept in the cellar have been seen moving by themselves, and a woman staying in one of the rooms alone claims to have woken up soaked with water. Lastly, the Coliseum was a cinema that has since been renovated into a block of flats. Here, a friendly ghost called Fred, the spirit of the cinema's projectionist, roams. Fred took his own life in the projection room, and his presence is often felt there. While a screening of The Exorcist was underway, trays that were kept in fridges started flying out, and many people have stated the belief that the spirit was unhappy that the movie was being shown. Number 1. Pluckley Village is not only Kent's most haunted village, but one of the most haunted villages and scariest places in all of England. One of its most prominent ghosts appears at a road fittingly called Fright Corner. Rumor has it that a highwayman was killed on this road in the 18th century after he was pinned to an oak tree with a sword, and the sword fight has been seen being reenacted by his spirit many times, always resulting in his death. Dicky Buss's Lane is reportedly the site where a school teacher ended his own life by hanging. He was found by Dicky, the miller who the lane is named after, and the teacher is often seen here as a ghostly apparition. Dicky himself is often seen haunting his mill just before a big thunderstorm arrives in the area. In another area of the village, a brick worker who was working on a clay wall was killed and the wall fell over and crushed him. It's said that his agonizing screams can still be heard echoing through the village some nights. The hoof falls of ghostly horses have also been heard at Maltman's Hill, with a babysitter reporting that she saw a carriage, light emanating from inside, being pulled along the street by a team of horses. At the Pluckley Cemetery, Lady Deering is seen walking the grounds, wailing loudly while searching for the grave of her child. At Pinnock Bridge, the ghost of a gypsy woman who used to sell goods in the area has been spotted sitting on the edge of the bridge. It's said that she lost her life on the bridge when she accidentally burned to death. She never speaks and appears as a misty figure smoking a pipe. The Blacksmith's Arm Pub is said to be home to 3 spirits. They are a Tudor maid who appears to revelers, a coachman who sits and stares longingly into the fire, and a cavalier who walks between the rooms upstairs. The Grand House Sarandon Deering was destroyed in a fire in 1952, and the apparition of a lady in white who walks there is believed to be the spirit of a woman whose family owned the house. She was seen by members of the US Embassy who were stationed there between the First and Second World Wars. An employee who decided to hold an all-night vigil at the house one Christmas Eve reported her appearing in front of him, prompting him to fire at her with his rifle. Other hauntings in the village included a colonel who wanders among the trees in Parkwood after ending his life there, the mistress of Rose Court who died after eating poisoned berries, and lastly, the Screaming Woods, where voices of men and women can be heard wailing after becoming lost in the mist. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But I've been Ty Knots, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.